It's me Tak here, and this time we're gonna talk about Sena matchup. We're gonna start with the hardest one to the easiest one. The first one, the harder one, obviously is Pyke. Like Pyke is super strong in early and Sena is super weak in early, so it makes sense it destroy her. So what you can actually do against Pyke is, well, level 1 you already have to play safe because he can actually grab you, so you have to put something in front of this grab. It's gonna be your ADC or CS. So if you have to leave some CS XP, you can do it because Pyke gonna zone you a lot with this Q. And also when he is level 2, he can easily catch you with this E as an Q. Like, it's really hard to do anything against Pyke. The best thing to do is just outscale him because he doesn't scale and you scale a lot. But something you can do is whenever he grab, if you are out of this range, you can actually throw a W at him, and normally he will just E out if your W hit him because he don't want to get CC, but if you just E in Q, if you W him, he's gonna be fucked, and normally you should have enough damage with your ADC to one-shot Pyke because Pyke is kinda squishy, but you have to wait for him to actually do a mistake, because you cannot engage Pyke. Like, Pyke will always be the one engaging you. He will obviously out-roam you, and you can't really do much about it. Try to maybe, ping a lot your mid laner if he's moving, or your jungle, because it's really hard to like rotate as much as Pyke because you have a lot of move speed with this W. Other thing, if you're in lane and you see Pyke W, just run. Just don't think, because he's gonna be on you, and try to avoid any engage. And try to use your ADC as a front line, because they are more tanky than you. Another useful information about Pyke is try to keep your heal to just proc it before he ult you, so he can affect him because he think he can kill you, but if you heal, he just go in a bad position and you can kill him. Next you have Camille support, which is actually fucking broken against Sena because she can engage you pretty easily in lane with her E, because she can just dash on every wall and be on you. Like, her range is too huge for you to actually play the lane. You kinda have to play super safe and stay on the turret and use your ADC as your front line, kinda like always. But the main problem with Camille is she gonna get a huge fucking shield from your ADC, and it's gonna be too hard for you to kill her. And the best thing to do is peel your ADC when she gets engaged and pray for your ADC to not mispose. And the main problem is you will not have the lane prio because, as I said, you cannot face her. So she will start roaming and having pressure on the map, which is kinda bad because with Sena it's really hard to roam and shit, because if you roam at the same time, Camille can just engage you and you're kinda fucked. Also, her ult is really strong for you because you cannot escape. That's why you kinda want to put someone between you and Camille that's gonna tank the engage. But at some point, you're gonna outscale her, and if you just put a WQ and ult, normally she can't do much. It's gonna, like most engage champion, you can outscale them. But yeah, the lane is really bad. Sena have a lot of issue with mage, which is why xerath is so fucking broken against her, because he just outrange her, and anything that outrange Sena is really strong against her, because Sena just only has her range, to be fair. And the thing is, she doesn't have a lot of HP, so it's really hard for her to survive from xerath. But yeah, your job against xerath is just to run in the lane as fast as you can and try to proc your fleet as much as you can, but not by autoing xerath, because if you get in a range from xerath, he's just gonna slow you with his W or even stun you with his E, and no, most of the time when you get stunned by xerath you're just dead. So the best option is actually to just Q the wave and proc fleet with your Q on champion, and if you can on turret, but most of the time you will not have prio over xerath. And yeah, your job is to rush move speed, swiftness, opportunity, or other items that gonna give MS, and survive the lane. The best way to engage xerath is actually to Q him from, like I said, a minion. You Q a minion, it xerath, it slow him. At some point where your Q gonna slow a lot, you will be able to like throw a W and maybe root him, and at this moment hopefully your team can engage him, or you're just gonna run around him to try to avoid this E, and try to play the range against him to just auto him until he's dead. But it's still really hard to face xerath. That's why you want to have a lot of move speed to be able to dodge all this spell. Next you have blitzcrank, which is actually broken against Sona, mainly because you have a hook and a lot of move speed, so it's really easy for him to reach you. As Sona, there is not much you can do. I mean, take as much move speed as possible, but Blitz will always be faster than you, and kinda the only option is use someone to be your front lane if someone can tank the hook for you. So if you want to do a 2v2 bot, just use your ADC, because if you get grabbed, you're just instantly dead and you can't do nothing against Blitz, because Q plus E of Blitz just mean you're dead. Try to have minion who can tank the hook if possible. It's kinda the same for every hooker, but it's harder for blitzcrank because you have a lot of move speed, so even if you have minion, you can avoid them, or even reach you by just using W and then E. That's why you want to zone him a bit with your W. You pre-shot where he's going to be and try to CC him before he reach you, but it's not easy. And other thing about blitzcrank, try to use your ult after you use this ult, because this ult gonna one-shot shield, so don't ult first, wait for him to ult. I mean, if you are in a position where he's not gonna ult you, because if he silences you, you won't be able to ult, and still if you need the damage of the ult, you can ult. But the best case scenario is you ult after blitzcrank ult, if you can, and if your ADC gonna survive, obviously. Another broken champion against Sona is Zyra, because she can just zone you easily, she can one-shot you. She's really strong against Sona, because her plant can zone you. Even if you can get some gold from the plant, it's really hard to kill them because you need 2 auto. But one tips I can give you to one-shot the plant is actually, if you put your W on a plant, it's gonna one-shot her directly, and it's gonna CC the enemy around it instantly, but most of the time you just use it to like clear or plant if you can. It gives gold, so it's nice. Other thing against Zyra, try to avoid face checking any bush, because she's gonna most of the time stay in a bush, wait for someone to come and just to one shot him. And you can face check bush with your W also, and if it hits something, that means someone in the bush. And yeah, most of the time you will just wait for someone to engage Zyra, because it's really hard, or just wait for her to use her E and also her Q and to clear her plant before. It's really hard to kill her, but at some point when she doesn't have spell, it's just like every mage, you're just gonna one-shot her. Another broken champion you just can't lane against is Thresh, because even if you miss this grab, which is actually super dangerous, even if it's slow, it's still a good grab. Well, this E can, I mean, he can flash EU pretty easily, or if you auto him and you stay for too long, it can just EU. Like, you cannot really trade Thresh, because you're gonna play Glacial Augment, so if you manage to EU, you're slow, you have to flash out or anything, but you're kinda fucked most of the time. And other thing, you can maybe just put a W and this jungle gonna come, and you just don't want to feed the jungle. So for me, the best option is just not play against Thresh in lane. And whenever you're doing a team fight, most of the time Thresh will look at you and will just wait for you to mispose and Q you. That's why you have to be way too patient before joining a fight, like playing the range. Always have an eye on what Thresh is doing, because most of the time he will just focus you, because you're Sona, you're an easy target for him. But at least at some point you will outscale him, and technically you're way stronger than him in team fight. And at some point you will get the quest, which is useless as fuck, but I never lose a quest. Like, never, because you have way more range and it's way easier to kill Thresh than for Thresh to kill you. But the quest is, yeah, useless. Then you have vel'koz. Vel'koz is kinda like xerath, a huge mage that deals tons of damage and is really hard to face in lane. But the thing is, it's kinda like every mage, if you don't give him kill in lane, he should not one-shot you in late game, and you should have outscaled him and more impact in teamfight. But the thing is, with vel'koz, this Q, I mean good vel'koz, it's really hard to dodge this Q. Most of the time you try to use a CS to cover you, but good vel'koz know how to deal with it. It's just rush, move speed, and try to avoid this spell. You cannot engage him because if you do, he's just gonna EW you, and you're dead at this point. Be careful about this level 6 because if you are too close to him, he can, I think, one-shot you because this ult is really strong. Because your Sena, you doesn't have magic resistance, doesn't have HP, so yeah, most of the time he can one-shot you if you're too close to him, or also if you hit a Q and then ult, you're dead. But yeah, just outscale him, play like xerath, do like I said with the Q on minion to proc fleet and also to then W to try to CC him. You're not the one who can engage him, but yeah, you can like make him lose spell and make your team be like routing vel'koz for your team to engage him. Then we have Zac support, which is actually OP because you cannot face him in lane. It's kind of like Camille, but less dangerous. Because level 1, if you try to auto him, it's just gonna Q you and your CC, and you lose a lot of HP. Might kill you with an ignite and a good early ADC. Also, this level 2 is really dangerous because he can engage you with this E, and this range is really long, but it's still shorter than Camille. But yeah, most of the time you will try to be out of this E range, and don't get too close to your ADC because if he engage you, then it's you or your ADC is gonna be able to like Q you and your ADC, and you're both fucked. You have to make sure that if your ADC is Q, it doesn't have the range to auto you. And most of the time, you just have to wait for him to fuck this engage, and when he fucked up, you just can kill him because he can't do much. Like, he have nothing, he have no spell, it's just an easy target for you. Then you have Nautilus, which is one of the most famous Sena counter, we can say, because a lot of people will pick Nautilus against Sena because it's one-head matchup. You just grab Sena, you kill her, and it's GG. But that's the thing, like most people will play Nautilus without knowing how to play it, even if it's obviously easy to play it. But the thing is, Nautilus is not so tanky. So when you engage, like I said always, use your ADC to be your front line or anyone. So when you engage your ADC, you're gonna put your wool burst in it. And I mean, Nautilus have a shield and shit, but he doesn't have a lot of armor, HP or magic resistance. He's not like Leona or tank. He's gonna die pretty easily. But the main problem is this ult is so broken against you. So don't get too close to Nautilus, don't get in range for him to grab you, and whenever he just ult you, use your E and just try to get the fuck away from him. Nami is the best enchanter against Sena because you can just can't auto her, because if you do auto her you won't be able to move and she's just gonna Q you and you're fucked most of the time. Also she give a pretty nice burst to her ADC or carries, which is a big problem for Sena. But yeah, you kinda have to wait for her to miss or Q or be in a lane where the ADC doesn't one-shot you, and technically, yeah, you're gonna obviously outscale her. Even if it's an enchanter, it's good matchup. Every enchanter are good matchup for Sena. But yeah, Nami does have some spells that can affect you, and also her ult is really strong. You can E whenever she ults you, so it's harder for the enemy to reach you because most of the time the ult have a long range. But yeah, you will try to not play the lane against Nami because she destroy you in lane and you do outscale her a lot. And when you get a lot of move speed, it's gonna be even harder for her to Q you. Also, when you get attack speed, it's gonna be easier for you to use your Q spell on her, and she will not have the time to actually bubble you. Then we have Karma, which is just like Nami. She can bully you in lane and you can have to survive, and you can outscale her and be way more powerful than her in teamfight. So the thing you have to avoid with Karma is not being too close to the wave, because she can use the CS to Q and do damage to you. Also, you want to have CS in front of you and her Q ult, but not too close, because like I said before, she can use the minion to proc her Q. Other thing, you have to avoid her W, because she can just W and press E, and it's really hard to avoid it. You can avoid it by going swiftness and using Q. You're gonna slower, you're gonna proc fleet, and normally you should be safe. But yeah, most of the time you just don't want to play the lane against Karma and just wait to outscale her. Then we have Hwei, which is a mage, so you kind of want to avoid this spell and just don't play the lane and outscale because it's mage, so they need gold, they need to snowball the lane, so they need to kill you. You want swiftness and move speed as soon as possible, and the only thing you have to avoid Hwei is this combo, so if you know you have these two spells up, you have to wait for him to miss them. Other thing, you cannot go in front of him, because if you go in a direct line, you're just gonna use this W and fear you. And most of the time he will be able to one-shot you. Also, when you get this ult, you have to make sure he doesn't hit you, because he can one-shot you with this ult, because the slow is too powerful. That's why you kinda want to play the range against him. He doesn't have a really big range, to be fair. Now for Leona, a lot of people might think Leona is a bad matchup, but I do think it's not really a bad matchup for Sona. But you have to have an ADC who play cleans, and to let your ADC tank the whole engage of Leona, because as Sona you just can't tank the engage of Leona. That doesn't mean you want to go cleans with Sona, you just have to play safe and be on your ADC, and if your ADC doesn't play cleans, you're kinda fucked, to be fair. Level 1 you can play against her because she doesn't have anything, she can't really reach you. I mean, she can start E, but after E she cannot do anything. But yeah, when she gets her level 2 you're kinda fucked, and you can't really play the lane, you have to wait for her to engage your ADC or to miss her engage. You play safe and scale, because Leona doesn't scale well. And when she gets level 6 it's even harder, because the range of engage the Leona is really huge, so it's not so easy to play against. But yeah, you have to play the range against her. I really don't like to face Rell, but she's not such a hard matchup, to be fair. Like, her range of engage is not so big. I mean, it's big when she can X-flash and flash, but you have to be careful whenever she can X-flash. And so the thing is, you kinda just want to stay a lot behind, play even more the range to make sure she just won't be able to reach you. And at some point, if you get like Edge of Night or Swiftness, you should be fine against her, because whenever Rell engage, you just can't get out. And your Xena is good at receiving engage if she doesn't get stun or kill, because her ult is really strong. So technically, if she misses her engage, she's dead, and you can bully her a bit if you have enough range. Lux is actually a bad matchup in low elo, but a really good matchup in high elo. It's mainly because most of Sena don't know how to space against Lux and dodge, and also ADC don't know how to dodge Lux spell. So I recommend you, if you are in low elo, to ban Lux. That's what I'm doing most of the time. But yeah, to outplay Lux, the only option you have is to actually rush as much move speed as you have, and just try to bait her spell. I mean, the E, you can't really dodge it. If she's good, she's gonna eat it, but with your Q and fleet, technically you should be able to sustain and not die from her poke. But the main thing you should be scared of is her cage. That's why you just can't trade her when she have her cage. You can fake trade her, that means you're gonna try to auto her, but you're gonna cancel the auto, and whenever she see it, she's gonna be, okay, Sena gonna auto, I'm just gonna cage it. And at the moment she does that, just move, and then you should be able to dodge the cage if you're good enough and have enough move speed. And when she doesn't have cage, she's kinda fucked, because she doesn't have CC and anything, and you can just run her down. But you can do the same thing as xerath. If you can't reach her, just Q the wave and then W, and hopefully your team can reach her, or if she misses her cage, you can reach her. Braum, not a lot of people play Braum this day, because Braum support is kinda weak, so it's not so hard to face him. Still, he can one-shot you if he managed to hit this Q with another spell before. With his passive, it's gonna stun you, and if you're stunned, you're just dead with Sena, because you don't have enough HP to survive. So you kinda want to play the range and not play the lane, because if he reach you, you're fucked, and you're gonna outscale him. And whenever you are in team fights, if he gonna ult and do a lot of damage, well, as Sena, you can just ult and give a shield to your whole team. So Bard is kinda a tricky matchup because in some way it counter you by roaming a lot and having a lot of impact on the map, but at the same time, because you're solo bot, I mean, if he's not bot, you're just gonna scale, and if you do scale, that means he will need to impact the map even more, and if he can't impact the map, you're just gonna win because you just scale. But the thing is, Bard can easily come back bot with this E and the jungle. That's why even if his Bard is not bot, you have to be careful because he can collapse you with the jungle and his E. So it's easy for them to gank you, and as Sena you're really squishy and easy to gank because you doesn't have dash and thing. So you kinda need to take vision to see to have the more info you can have on Bard, and to ping obviously your mid laner or top laner if it's moving, even ping them a bit too much. Hopefully they will listen, most of the time they don't, but yeah, that's the thing you can do. And to trade Bard, just don't be close to your allies, don't be close to the wave because it's gonna stun you, and also try to keep your E, because whenever he ults you, your E might save you if you get some extra move speed. So Taric is kinda a strange matchup because in some way you can build it in lane because it's kinda easy to dodge his E, but if he manages to hit you with his E, you're kinda fucked. And the thing is, yeah, as always, you want to stack as much move speed as possible, and also you want to like Q him whenever he E and do a little bit of sidestep. But if you are facing some really strong early ADC, you might not want to play too aggro against Taric, because if you got alistar or the champion, they might just one-shot you if you mispose. But the thing is, Taric does scale pretty well, and that's one of the main problem is his ult. So in team fight you might lose a team fight because he do a good ult, but normally you do still outscale him, and in like long term team fights you're just gonna win because you're more useful. But yeah, in short term fights you cannot deal with him. That's why Taric is this high. And still, there is something you should never do against Taric, is never be in range for him to auto you, because if you can auto you, he's just gonna proc his passive and you're gonna spam auto, do a lot of damage and sustain his ADC on him, and you're gonna hard lose. Then we have Neeko, which is also a strange matchup because she can zone you pretty easily, and you cannot approach the wave because she can use the wave to actually E you. I mean, if Neeko is someone before you and then it hits you, it's gonna root you for like too much time and you're gonna die for it. And also her poke with her Q is not so bad. That's kinda why she is so powerful, like she can just one-shot you out of nowhere and she have like big CC. Also her ult, if she hits you, most of the time you're dead. So it's kinda hard to play against Neeko because you have to always be aware where she is, because she can be anyone and she can be anywhere, and as a support is really broken. Also she can use her clone to take vision and thing. She have a lot of pressure on the map, to be fair, but you do outscale her. But if she does a good ult in late game, you're kinda fucked. So you have to always use stab, because with stab you can see whenever she's on the map or not, even if she's transformed as a CS. It will show her that she's on the map. That's broken against her, and that's kind of the only thing you can do against her. And when you know where she is, you kind of want to trick her to a fight where she loses. But yeah, as I said, Neeko doesn't scale well. She's really strong in early, that's why it's not so good for Sena to face her. But still, Neeko support is not so good. Then we have Janna. Janna is actually a good matchup for Sena, but she can in some way kill you if she put a good Q, so you kinda want to keep vision on her, because if you have vision of Janna, you can know if she's charging a Q or not, because if she's hidden in a bush and she Q, you won't see it, but if she's outside and already Q in the bush, you will see the Q. And so you have to move a lot and not stay in some area, because if she know you are most of the time in this area, she's gonna Q you there. And whenever you want to trade Janna, you always want to have fleet and Q up, so you can do auto and Q trade, because if she auto W, you're gonna obviously lose if you only auto, and you do outscaler a lot, and she can't really kill you in lane normally, but you can trade her a bit and get some soul from it. Then you have Rakan, which is a good matchup because technically you outrage him and it's really hard for him to engage you. So the only thing you have to avoid is being in this range to W. That means if you don't have swiftness, just don't try to auto him, because he can just easily W while you're autoing. Even if you use your Q, he should have the time to engage you, and this engage is really dangerous for you, and most of the time it will kill you because ignite and thing. After you get level 6, I mean Rakan 6, he might be able to engage you whenever he wants. But whenever he's doing this, you cannot want to W him because it fucks him. Because Rakan engage, then if you hit the W, the moment Rakan get hit with W, he want to go back to this ADC to be safe. But he's just gonna spread the W to this ADC and fuck them at the same time. A lot of Rakan do this, even if like Chal Rakan do it. And so you kinda want to predict, like, not be near Rakan whenever he's got this ult. Like I said, play the range and try to let your ADC tank the engage and predict where he's gonna be. I mean, whenever he's gonna W, put your W on it and it's kinda fucked him, and also do the Q ult, like always. Then we have Soraka, which is a good matchup because she can't really do much against you in lane, and you do outscale her, but she still have a better mid game because she gonna heal way more than the damage you're gonna put. And the thing is, against Soraka, I mean, her Q are really easy to dodge, so the only thing is don't trade her straight away because she's just gonna Q you and she's gonna sustain. But even if she sustain, to be fair, you don't really care, because if you auto Q, you get a soul. She's not gonna do much damage. She's gonna sustain a bit, but you don't really care because technically you cannot really kill her in lane, and she can't really kill you if no one fucked. And she will have some impact, like I said, in mid game with her ult, and she will be able to sustain more. It's kinda hard to kill her. Because she have a lot of healing, but in long term, if she miss all her Q, she won't be able to sustain, and you will be able to abuse fleet and poke her a bit. So you cannot want just to avoid every Q. If she's playing too safe, it's good for you, because even if you don't get much soul, you're just gonna turbo outscale her. Alistar is a good matchup because he just can't reach you, to be fair. The only way he can reach you is if you try to auto him, but you should never try to trade him and wait for him to engage your IDC if you fucked up or anything. That's kind of the only way you can engage you is with X flash or flash. So yeah, he just can't really do much, and that's the thing. Level 1 you can bully him and you're just gonna outscale, and every engage you do, you just put a W and it's gonna fucked, and you kill your ADC. It's kinda like every playmaker, but this time it's just too easy to face. Then you have Maokai. You might say Maokai is so fucking broken this day and it's not a good matchup. That's true, but technically, let's say Maokai is not broken. Well, it's not a bad matchup for Sona, because the only way he can reach you is just by flashing your ass, and whenever in engage, he's not tanky at all. He does have a lot of move speed now with new broken item, but as Sona, you should be fine because you do have more range on him, and it's really hard for him to hit you. Then we have Phantheon. Phantheon is the same. If he reach you and stun you, you're dead. But like I said, just don't auto him. Whenever you get swiftness, you can Q him because his range is even shorter. And you can just Q W, and whenever he gets CC, you can auto him. Or just don't play the lane. Because Phantheon scaling doesn't exist. Even if in late game, some way he can one-shot you if you're fucked up. But technically, in mid, he's just non-existent, like, he's useless. Then you have Yuumi. Yuumi is actually good against Sena in some way, but Yuumi is not a champion anymore. She doesn't exist because no one like Yuumi. I mean, she's pro-jail, that's why no one play her. But her slow and the fact she can like go on a champion, and if this champion is feed, it's over because Sena just can't kill her with all the shield and everything. But yeah, overall Yuumi is not a bad matchup because she's just weak as fuck. But let's say if she gets strong, it's hard to face her. It's kinda hard to dodge her Q. You need to take the wave. There is not much you can do against Yuumi. I mean, trade as much as you can the ADC. But if she gets on the feed champion, you can't do much as Sena. Then you have Sona, which is a good matchup because Sona kinda want to scale and Sena does scale. But yeah, both scale. I don't know which one is the best. It depends mostly on the comp. And the thing is, you cannot bully Sona until she gets level 6, and when she gets level 6 you have to be careful she doesn't ult you, because if she do, it cannot one-shot you most of the time because she have damage behind, I mean her team. Whenever she ult you and it's too late, try to E before, so they might have not vision on you to reach you. Also, be careful in lane. Even if she doesn't have her ult, she can slow you with her passive. If you don't know, she can use the third auto E and she will slow you, and it's really dangerous for Sena to face this thing because the slow is really strong on her. But yeah, you can trade her a lot if you play the range against her and get kinda a lot of soul, and whenever you get dark and some damage, you're gonna destroy. Then you have Shaco support. It's kinda rare to face Shaco support, and it mostly depends if they are playing AP or AD. But the thing is, it's kinda always the same against Shaco. You kinda want to stay into the lane, I mean where the minions are going, to make sure you doesn't get CC by this box. Just never go in the bush. I mean, it's kinda obvious, but just don't follow Shaco when he's going somewhere. Like, you're just gonna outscale him, just don't fight Shaco. Only fight him when he Q in, then you just W him, and when you W him, he just can't move, he's fucked, he cannot escape, and most of the time you just kill him. If it's 2 feed on his AD, you just can't do much against him, but technically if he don't get killed, you're fine. You just have to be careful about this roaming, to be fair. Then you have Morgana. Morgana is actually a dog shit support, at least in high elo. In low elo I know it's working because it's kinda like Lux, she can actually reach, I mean people don't know how to dodge her thing, but it's kinda one head to face Morgana. Is just like play into the wave, she just can't cage you and she's fucked because you're gonna outscale her. Our black shield is kinda useless, I mean you can stop your WCC, but and don't get on her ult range. I mean, it's kind of one head to face Morgana for me. Then you have Renata. Renata is kind of easy matchup in some way because she's really good against tanking champion. Sena isn't tanky. The only thing you have to avoid is trying to auto her or Q her when she have her Q up, because she can just kill you with the Q. Also, don't get too close to your ADC, so she cannot really like Q both your ADC and you. But yeah, you can trade her when she doesn't have a Q. The only problem is whenever she give a W to someone, like her ADC, and if you're facing alistar or champion that's really good against Sena, she might kill you. But yeah, there is a thing you can do against her W is whenever the enemy die, it's an ADC with a long range, you can just press E and they're fucked because they just can't reach you. But yeah, most of the time you just want to turbo outrange Renata. Then you have Zilean. Zilean is kind of a matchup you just don't want to play the lane, because if he manage to press E on you and then double bomb, you might die. So you just wait, scale, because Zilean isn't really dangerous. I mean, the scaling is good, you're gonna revive someone, but it's not that much important. Like, your Sena, you will be way more stronger than him. Milio is a really good matchup because you can just trade him in the lane. I mean, if you have your Q1 fleet up. He can't really kill you. The only time he can kill you is if you have a really good ADC who have a strong burst like Lucian, you can say. And in this case, you just play safe and turbo outscale him, like always. And the only thing you have to avoid is fight them in a long fight, with the W of milio. Whenever he puts the W, try to avoid fighting because it gives more range and damage, and it's kinda fucked you in a long-term fight. Then you have Lulu. Lulu is kinda the same because it's an enchanter. You're just gonna outscale her. She can't really do much in lane. But there is something you have to avoid is if she managed to E you then Q you, she gonna slow you and the ADC might reach you and kill you. And she does have some kind of burst with the E plus Q. And also don't go straight into her because if you do this and try to auto her, she's just gonna Q and slow you. But yeah, most of the time you can trade her a lot, and you just have to wait for her to miss her Q, or trade her ADC, even if she shielded, it's still fine. I mean, you don't really care to do damage in lane, you're just here to get more souls. Then you have Seraphine. Seraphine support is for me really weak, I don't see anyone play it, and when they play it against me, I always win. But still, you have to be careful about Seraphine E because she have a really huge range, and if she manages to hit you, she can slow you, and some people might do enough damage to kill you. But most of the time, her spells are really one-head, and it's really easy to dodge them. But yeah, if you just wanna go for some move speed, it's kind of like every mage, even if she's some kind of enchanter, she's just gonna not scale that well. I mean, not as much as Sona. Only thing you have to avoid is not being behind your team when you are fighting Seraphine. Try to be in an area where she just can't ult your whole team, obviously. Next you have Braum, which is a really good matchup for Sona because Braum can't really do much against Sona. Because Braum is really good against tanky champions that he can reach with this auto, but it's really hard for Braum to reach Sona in lane. And I mean, the only thing you can do is dash on a minion. That's why you don't want to be close to this minion, because if you dash with his W, he'll be in range to auto you. So never be in range for him to auto you. But he can still reach you with this Q, that's why you kinda want to have your minion or someone in front of you, or at least have enough move speed to dodge this Q. But yeah, most of the time, you don't even need to play against Braum because you're just gonna outscale him, and in team fight you won't be able to do anything against you. Then you have tahm kench, which is a really bad support for me. But still, there is one thing tahm kench can do against you, is if he's in range to Q you, and then he can W and he might kill you. And it's really a strong combo against Sona. It's actually surprised me because I don't see a lot of tahm kench support, but still, you just have to wait for him to use the spell before trading him. And like I always, he's a playmaker, so you're gonna outscale him, and it's not really useful in. Then you have Ashe. You might think Ashe support actually is strong against Sona, but it's clearly not. The only time Ashe support can win is in lane, if she abuses Elf Blade. That's why you just don't want to play the lane against Ashe. You're just gonna stay behind, not be in range for her to hit her W, or if you trade her, be careful she doesn't put the free auto with Elf Blade. Just do auto Q, then get out, wait for Elf Blade to fade away, and do this kind of trade. But yeah, overall you don't want to trade her in early because she gonna slow you and already she gonna be able to go on you. The only other thing you have to be careful is her ult. It's really strong against you, but try to E before. If you get like enough move speed maybe to dodge her ult, or if she hits you, you're in your E, so it's harder to hit you because most of the time she will snipe you from far away. So if you use your E, they won't have vision on you and they will have to go closer before doing damage to you. And to finish, we have Swain, which is actually still played as support, strangely. But yes, the only thing you have to avoid against Swain support is his E. So don't try to trade him whenever he's got his E, and whenever he just misses E, you can just destroy him with range. Even if he ult you, you're just gonna win because it's Swain support. Like, Swain do need a lot of gold to be powerful. Like, he need to scale, that's why it's kinda strange to playing as a support, because if he doesn't snowball, it's just gonna be dog shit and useless the whole game. So that was all for this video, hope you like it. Well, if there is some matchup I didn't speak about, like Heimerdinger or anything, and you have still questions, you can ask me in the comment section. I didn't put them because no one really plays them, to be fair. But yeah, bye!